Hey guys, welcome to the We Need to Calm Down podcast. I'm Devin.
And I'm Joe.
And this is a show where we talk about all things Taylor Swift.
That's right. This is a show where two friends finally get to let their dedication to Taylor Swift fly.
We'll be discussing everything from song breakdowns, Taylor news, and our insane fan theories.
And most importantly, folklore.
Folklore.
Today is all folklore. No banter. There's no time for banter. There's nothing new that has happened in our lives since the last 24 hours when we posted the last episode. The only thing that's new is that I think I actually even texted you this earlier. It's amazing how quickly our lives changed in 24 hours. Like, my life is nothing but folklore right now.
Yep, pretty much. I tweeted about it. This is all I'm going to be talking about for the foreseeable future. I apologize, but I am not sorry.
One thing, actually, I will say one thing we do have time for is a quick disclaimer about this episode. I don't know if you noticed, but Taylor used some very colorful, I'll say, language during this record. And while we usually try to keep this podcast relatively clean, you may notice that this episode had the explicit tag on it. Well, we were just as shocked to see it on this album, and we're still not actually over it yet. And we'll probably be using some colorful language ourselves, just because it's kind of necessary. And if Taylor uses it, we have to talk about it, and we don't really want to skate around it. We'll try to keep it tasteful, but we are absolutely gushing over this album.
Yes. So with that being said, we're going to be talking about all things folklore today. We're going to be talking about our initial reactions. We're going to be discussing track by track what we thought, any lyrics that stood out right away. We don't want to do too deep of a dive because we're going to be saving that for the song breakdowns. We'll be ranking 1 to 16, our favorites, our least favorites, why, any predictions we had, were they true, what actually came out. So all things folklore. Very excited.
I'm so excited. All right, so let's start off with the most poignant elephant in the room, Devin's wrongness. And for once in my life, I'm not wrong in saying Devin's wrong.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Okay, so I will admit that I am in the unpopular opinion right now.
No, just admit that you're wrong.
Maybe, honestly,
Devin?
I might be. My brain might be. No, okay. So anyways, what Joe is referencing is the fact that the first track, The One, is not a top song for me. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I don't want to say it because I feel like people are going to hate me, but there's something about the chorus. The verses I really like. I think that this is a great intro to the album. I think it really sets the tone. Sure. Something about the chorus just doesn't sit right in my brain. I think it's like the transition, it just doesn't sound right. Like sonically in my head, it just does not compute right, and I just don't like it.
I love that you say that, like, the transition, and to me, there's literally no transition.
Well, exactly.
Okay, so the lack of transition is okay, I can see that then. Because that's one of the things I liked about this song and a lot about this album, which is also shocking to me. Is like you don't like. I think one of the key parts of this song that is part of the greater album is it is just a stream of conscious sounding album.
But the rest of the album sounds right.
Coherent.
This song, not even coherent. It just sounds
cohesive.
Right. Cohesive. Something about the chorus of this song just does not sit right in my brain, and I can't explain it.
All right, then I'm going to talk about this song because I'm like, let me tell you how excited I was this morning because I was getting texts from all of my friends going, oh my God, I love The One. Oh my God, I love The One. And Devin sent me her preliminary ranking, which our rankings changed at least 10 times.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the day.
This ranking is going to change again.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we'll do another episode to see where everything ends up lying. But, Devin sent me a ranking and The One was really, 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 like really low.
I think it might have been my last.
I think it was your absolute last song. And I was like double checking. I'm like, why? Wait, what? Devin's not usually this wrong. Like it was surreal for me. Mm-hmm. But since I'm the one that actually enjoys the song, I'll mention a couple of things that I noticed. I think we both did agree that no other song in this record could have opened this album. Mm-hmm. Just like I forgot that you existed shockingly, Taylor can order her album in a beautiful way and knows exactly what she's doing. I can't believe it. I can. That was sarcasm. I need to say that because no one can even believe that I would disagree with Taylor. But I will say, number one, the thing that stood out to me the most is the first line of this song. And the first thing that we hear from Taylor after this isolation and like crazy experience we've been having. She says, I'm doing good. I'm on some new shit. And that's just like mid conversation. Like we just start this album mid, like her fans have been like, yo, Taylor, what up? And she just immediately goes into, I've been doing good. I'm on some new shit. And not
Which
to
she
mention
is.
that, she's doing great. But not to mention that she starts it off with cursing, which is insane. Like like she's said shit before, but never like it's not like this was on a single. We didn't get a single. This was the first song that most people will hear when they listen to this album, and the 7th word is a curse word. Like that's a lot, and it shows that like the documentary that she did really showed us the real Taylor, and that she's done hiding behind this facade of someone who doesn't curse or hides her emotions or who she really is, which I think is really exciting. I'm excited to see what she does, especially with what we've seen later with the other curse words she uses and how she uses them specifically. But not to mention, it also starts with a very chill piano riff to let us know that this album's going to be very low-key. Hey-yo. But it does that, and then we get a really groovy beat that like really just makes you sway. Like once you put this album on and that beat comes in, you don't stop swaying until the album stops. But then the album is on repeat, so you just keep swaying it. You never stop swaying.
You're just getting a nice little workout from swaying. For those of you who don't know, Joe and I were on Instagram Live yesterday at midnight when the album dropped. We did a live watch of the Cardigan music video, and then we did a live listen reaction to the entire album. And
Devin rallied. I'm so proud of her.
I was so tired. I took a 20-minute nap before we had to actually like set up to record, and I was so groggy. I'm like, okay, like
she looked and sounded drunk. She was yawning every other word.
I was like crying. I'm like, let's just
literally crying.
And as soon as I heard Cardigan and it ended, I'm like, let's listen. Like I can do it. The adrenaline is pumping through me.
She never yawned. She was completely fine. I was so proud. I was so proud of her. She rallied and like absolutely killed it.
Stop. But yeah, so that's on our Instagram Live. It's still up. If you guys
might do that on YouTube too. We might cut that.
We're gonna condense it down, yeah. But yeah, so look forward to that eventually.
But I really like I said, I really enjoy that this album has that, and it was something I hadn't realized until literally just now. But this album does feel like a book, and this does feel like when the author writes an introduction, like introducing what like around the book. This is one of the first songs we have, and it's her as the narrator, 100%.
That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, and she talked about it a little bit in like the essay she released with this album, because a lot of people like that are casual Taylor fans were like, wait, like did her and Joe break up? I'm so sad. And they're taking everything so literally, and I had to like no, like this is a concept album. Like she has said, like she thought of these characters in her head, and she has drawn from life experience, but it's like, other things that are coming into play, and these characters that she's never met or wishes she hadn't met, and like just interacting with each other. And so to say that this is like a prelude and like having her, narrate the beginning of this story, I think that's a really good comparison.
I forget who I said it to. It might have been you, it might have been someone else, but this song or this album made me realize I would read any book that Taylor Swift puts out.
Oh yeah.
Like if she put out a fiction novel, I would granted, maybe this album didn't need me. I didn't need this album to realize that, because anything Taylor puts out, I'll devour.
Yeah.
But it made me realize that it's something I want. I would kill to see how she writes prose. As opposed to songs. But we can move on to the next song. But the one was great.
Exactly. Sorry. Okay, so number 2 is Cardigan. And so this was the technical, I guess, lead single with the music video coming out. I think it was a really cute song. We're going to do a dive into the music video on a later episode. But I think just like the tone of it, we have Alto Taylor coming in and just like her deeper voice that we get through a lot of this album. I love the fact that it's highlighted. I love the fact that like she isn't really straining her voice and it's just like this nice deep cut. I love it. I think Cardigan was a good song.
I will say like it ebbed and flowed a lot for me. Like obviously it was the first song we heard, so in the beginning I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then when we put it in context when we were listening to the rest of the album, I forgot about it and didn't think it was that good, like in comparison. But then when I started doing like my full listen throughs, it just every time we listened through, it would bump up on my ratings every
Exactly.
single time. So I will say, I like when she sings about clothing.
Mm.
I don't know why, but I think I referenced this in the last episode and maybe during the reaction. But all too well with the scarf, I really enjoyed that she brought some semblance of that back and like the I knew yous. I'm glad that we were correct about those lyrics that we found, that they were a part of this song.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll be discussing that later at the
mhm.
end. But
I'm excited to dive into like I think our song breakdowns might take like a different turn where it's going to be much more lyrical focused because this album is so lyrically dense.
it is, but I said this before. I'm going to say it again in this episode. The instrumentals, we were proven right. The instrumentals are fantastic. They're so clean and simple and orchestral and like this classic old, like, but timeless. It's so good. So good instrumentally. I'm going to have fun with that. But both of
I'm really
them.
excited for the song breakdowns of this. We might like just rip them off and
Yeah.
just keep going. But if we want to go into the last great American dynasty,
So I wasn't expecting to like this song as much as I do, but it's so like catchy and cute and the tone of it is just really nice.
I think what my problem with it, not that I have one, but I immediately likened it to Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince just because of like the similar sounding names.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have like a great memory of liking Miss Americana, so I just assumed it would follow suit with this. And initially I had the song ranked last. Like in
Mm-hmm.
my first draft of my rankings, I was like, yeah, this song's trash. Like whatever, who cares? And then the more I listened to it, the more it just kept building steam and just like
Yeah.
rising up through the ranks. Like it I definitely went into it like with prejudice, which is
Mm-hmm.
weird. But yeah, it's such a beautiful story,
Yeah.
and it's a different story. It's a different style song than we've ever heard Taylor do. I think.
And it's a true story. Like we'll get into it
Is
with
it
the break.
really?
Did I not tell you this? I thought I
I
said
know
no.
you sent me like what the story is based on, but I assumed that it
Oh,
was
well, I mean fictional to an extent, but
okay.
like
It's
but
fictionalized truth.
exactly,
Okay.
it was based off of her previous her home in Rhode Island, the previous owners back
And
in
I
the
do
day.
love again like we talked about narrators, and narrators are a huge part of this album. But I like that like it's very like a very top down view of everything, and then it just zooms into Taylor right at the end where she
Hmm.
says, "And then it was bought by me."
Yep.
And I really enjoy. I love how she plays with narration in this album.
Hmm. Yeah, but that was that song for me. Wanted to get to into track 4, which is Exile with Boney Bear. And I really want to watch our reaction to it again because I remember us both sitting here and we're like, okay. And then his voice just comes in and we both went, whoa. You're like,
Chills.
okay. So
It,
good.
his voice, I it doesn't sound like it. Like I genuinely only know him from the song he regrets doing with Eminem. Um, and this sounds nothing like that.
Hmm.
Like in that song, it's fall. He's very high pitched, very like falsetto, and this is like I can't imagine more of an opposite of it.
Yeah.
His voice is like velvet.
This is like a lot of the classic Boney Bear stuff. But
I made a list of going through because I thought it was going to be too hard to rank songs, so I also brought out moments, which were like when we were reacting things that made us go.
mhm.
and one of the ones came out for this song. It's just like the piano riff that matches their vocals just like really stands out to me, and it just elevates the song so much for me that I don't think I would have liked it nearly as much if that was absent.
Yeah.
But that again, it just kept rising on my rankings because every time I heard that specific part of it, I was just like drawn in.
Yeah, and then like overlapping each other at the end, just so good, so good.
It
Okay.
tells such a story, just the way that they sing it, not even the lyrics, just the way they sing.
All right, track 5,
Ugh.
track 5, My Tears Ricochet. So my opinion has changed drastically over the day as I listened. When I first listened to it, I'm like, this is good, but you know, Jack Antonoff said that this was one of his favorites, and or he just like he's like track 5, and it wasn't my favorite track 5. It was good, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. And then I was driving home from work and I had my volume blasted and I played it and I just let it build up, and I'm like, oh wait, I do like this. But the biggest thing for me is it is so somber. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, it's about what is like he's at her wake and like she's talking about how she haunts him and stuff like that.
Well, it's not like they're literal wake. It's just like it's a lot of like it's like after a breakup,
Mm-hmm.
and like the line, and I think we both reacted like crazy to it. Was and if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake?
Yeah.
Like just that. Then she goes cursing my name, wishing I'd stayed. But like just like the fact of just like, dude, if I'm dead to you, leave. Like,
Yeah.
why are you still hanging around if you don't care about me?
But the whole theme of the song too, like at the very beginning where it's just like the vocals doing the like, it sounds like a hymn that you would hear
Mm-hmm.
at a funeral or a wake. So it just like really sets that tone and makes it like very somber from the get-go.
I think one of the moments that I made note of was in this song was there is that slow build that it kind of reminiscent of All Too Well, but without like the retrieval,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the right word. But like just like the drums, just
Yeah.
like coming into the end and just like really like adding a lot to it. You said you played that blasting. I had a headache all day, so I couldn't blast any of this.
Mm.
But that as soon as you said blasting it, I was like, oh, that would add a lot to it.
Yep. So
Hearing that blasting sounds.
yeah, really brought it back up for me. So I was like, okay. Whew.
I still don't know if it's my favorite track 5. It's not. I mean, it's not. All Too Well still exists. But it might be close to like second or third. But I don't think it's nowhere near my favorite song on this album.
No, I agree with that. Now we get into number 6, which is one of my tops on this album, Mirror Ball. Oh my God, I am spinning like a girl in a brand new dress with this song.
Yeah.
I just want to spin in a field and just hush. And
This is like the Hey Ya
I'm
of
still
this album.
explain.
Do you not know the story of Hey Ya? You know Hey Ya by Outkast?
Yeah.
It's a song about like a girl who leaves a guy for another guy. Like it's a really depressing song. Like the lyrics, like it's a very upbeat song, but if you like read the lyrics, like it is very, very sad. And that's what this song is like. Like it's a very upbeat sounding song. It even like some of the lyrics make you think it's positive, but if you like peel it back a little bit, they're sad. They're so sad.
Yeah, but it's a bop. It's it's a sad, or it's a happy sad bop. It reminds me of like it's like a disco ball. Like I feel like a I don't even know how to explain it, but just like this old timey like. Mm, da, 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 da. I'm still like trying
Like
to
you're on the
memorize all the
Titanic.
lyrics. No,
Oh, okay.
just it's so good.
I didn't expect to like this song. This is a lot like I think this song and Last American Dynasty were both at the bottom of my list when I first started, and they both were the ones that just like crept up together.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I still don't like they're still not in my tops for me, but I maybe like I'm very much judge a book by its cover. and mirror ball that like doesn't sound appealing to me as in a title. But the song, it stood out and it kept rising for me.
I said, I think last episode, I said, Mirror Ball, Disco Ball. I don't know if I said that I would like it, but
I don't
top
think you, I
tier.
think I think you didn't. Like I think you were very nonplussed by it.
So good though. So good. Just standing on my tallest tiptoes, sitting in my highest heels. Okay, now we get to track 7. 7.
Apt.
So this song also ebbed and flowed all day for me. It was very high, and then I realized why I liked the song, and then it went a little bit further down for me. The the part that I really like, she starts it by "Are there still beautiful things?" and then goes,
That's such a good line.
"Sweet tea in the summer, cross my heart, won't tell no other." It's like it just that part of it just makes the song, but otherwise, I'm just not a huge fan of it.
I love the reference to Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
I when I was going through the lyrics, I noticed she did reference a lot of specific places, like countries and states and cities and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is unique because I don't think she does that a lot. But I did love that she referenced Pennsylvania specifically. But it does remind me of Death by a Thousand Cuts in the way that it grooves. The sweet tea in the summer. Because loving you, or Jesus, that's not at all how Death by a Thousand Cuts go. But saying goodbye is Death by a Thousand Cuts. And then the sweet tea in the summer. Like, I don't know. To me, they both have like that summery vibe, very LFAO summer girls. To me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ebbed and flowed all day. Towards the end of the day, it just kept going down and down because the
besides that one part.
Yeah.
Yep. Then we get to track 8, which is August, top tier song. Okay.
Joe predicted this would be his song, the best song of the album. He wasn't 100% correct, but he was darn close.
Almost there, bud. So Jack Antonoff said that this was one of his favorites. I trust him again because I agree. It's this sad song. It's a very sad song, but it's disguised as this like sweet little like swaying bop. And it's like, oh, hi. But it's just so good, and just the way that it flows, so good.
I think for me at least, this was the first song that really made me realize that this album wasn't about Taylor Swift. Because I remember I didn't read that story where she said like she wrote characters and that this was not like this was a fiction and like a concept. Like I didn't read any of that before we went into it.
Yeah.
So when we got to the song and it was like you started mentioning in it that it's about a love triangle between these people and stuff, and this was the first song that like really like that stood out to me. So I thought that was really cool, and there are just so many lines in this song that really stand out.
Some sexual lines.
There is a sexual line in the song.
And I can see it's twisted in bed sheets, all get slipped away like a bottle of wine.
Twisting you never were mine.
That, I mean, honestly, if you were to not, if this were about Taylor and this wasn't about characters and stuff, I feel like this would support your theory about Taylor and Joe being friends with benefits.
Well, I do think like no matter what, we're gonna speculate that that this got to be drawing from something. Like a lot of it can be just out of nowhere from a movie she saw or something like that, which we've seen her do before.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of it's drawing from her actual experiences. It's got to. So yeah, I'm right.
Okay. Sure.
No, but what was the back when we were still changing for the better, I think is one of my favorite lines in this song.
Is that in the bridge?
I think so. I believe so. Let me see. Back when we were still changing for the better,
I think it is.
For me, it was enough. I think, yeah. And then cancel plans just in case you call. So much for summer love and saying us. Oh, like there's so many great heartbreaking lines in this song.
And it's sad. The lyrics are heartbreaking, but it's just disguised in this like, oh, and the instrument in this song after that part, it sounds like a 50s like movie, like kind of, I can't pinpoint it, but it just sounds very classic, and I love it.
I was telling you, like I feel like it's like what's that movie, Grease? Like you get like a very Grease high school love vibe from it.
Yeah. Okay. Track 9. This Is Me Trying. I don't know how a Bleacher song ended up on a Taylor Swift record,
You know, maybe
but
I should listen to Bleachers.
this could be picked up, put down from a Bleachers album. Jack Antonoff is on the song. It just, you can't tell me that this isn't a Bleacher song. It sounds like if Jack sang it, it would be on an album, but because Taylor's singing it, it's a Bleacher song. It has the exact same vibe. The drum pattern and just like the cadence to it, the tone, but this is me trying, and I
Oh
just
yeah.
wanted you to know. Like, it's a good song. It wasn't my top, but it's a good song. And I think, like we said before when we were talking about song breakdowns and other things with Lover and other albums and unpopular songs, our bottom song is still like a 9 out of 10.
I've been saying that all day. Like our last song that we ranked, like, don't think that we don't like it. Like it's a 9 out of 10. It's just that our number one song is a 21 out of 10.
It was so hard to rank these songs. I was like, I had all these sticky notes and I tried to do it like in a column, and then it just ended up like 1, 2, 4, 5, like just all spread out on the same playing field. And I'm like, I need to make this sequential, and I just like couldn't figure it out. And then I changed it again. So
I think for this song, it definitely feels like a sequel to The Archer for me. It definitely, like, it has like similar vibes to it. And one thing that stood out to me in a couple of lines in the song, and something I've said before in this thing, because I won't let go that interview she said where she was in love with Pete Wentz's songwriting. But to me, I went through all of the lyrics and tried to highlight some that like were Fall Out Boy-esque.
yeah.
And there is one, so I got wasted like all my potential.
I love that line.
It's such an amazing line. If you heard that song in a Fall Out Boy, From Under the Porch Tree or anything, you would believe it 100% that they wrote it. And there is a song, Saturday by Fall Out Boy, where he goes, and I'm coasting on potential towards a wall. And I know that's not exactly the same, but that was immediately where I went. My mind went to that from it. A loaded God complex, cock it and pull it. Because that's the next line, and my words are shoot to kill when I'm mad.
Gotcha. Okay, track 10, Illicit Affairs. Care to comment?
This is It's Nice to Have a Friend. This is my sleeper pick for the record. I think this is it's not my favorite song on the record because like there's a clear winner on this album, but it is very, very high up for me, and I take pride that not many people are mentioning it, that I like it that much.
A couple people have said that Illicit Affairs is like one of their tops.
Okay, well.
It's like such an interesting like lyrical song, and the way that it flows, you're just like, ooh, okay. Clandestine meetings, like where's that word coming from?
I was gonna say there's a lot of words that she's able to pull off in this album that really like made me stop and like drop my jaw. Not because like it's a big word or whatever, which they are, but like one of them she uses mercurial, and it's like how were you able to work this like clunky word into this album that is nothing but flowy? Like clandestine, like I don't know how you make that song work in a song,
and
like,
it just does,
and it really does. Like it doesn't sound clunky, it doesn't feel weird, it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel like, oh well, you could have just used a different word. No, you had to use that one. And there are a lot, like I'm going through and I'll say this right now, I asked Devin before we went on to pick her favorite bridge because we are first and foremost a bridge podcast.
Yes.
And Illicit Affairs was my bridge of choice because I remember I was going through it and I was like, oh, what did I say? I was like, don't call me a kid, don't call me a baby. Look at this godforsaken mess that you made me. So and I was like, wow, that line's really good. And then I went down, don't call me a kid. I went down and I saw, you taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. And I was like, oh, that is a good line too. And I was like, let me just read this whole stanza. And I read the whole thing, and I'm like, this whole thing,
don't
lyrically.
Don't call me kid. Don't call me baby. Look
I
at this idiotic mess. What is it? Is that it?
idiotic fool that you made me.
Idiotic
But then
fool.
she uses godforsaken, and like that's another word that's just so weird and sounds so clunky, but she makes it sound like it's the only word that works in this song.
Yeah.
And that's incredible to me. That's a Taylor Swift thing for me.
Love her.
But there's just the lyrics themselves. Like I remember I was reading them and I wasn't listening to the song while I was reading them, and I was like, wow, these lyrics are top notch. And then it came on and I listened for the bridge, and like the delivery of them just accentuates them in ways that like just take them to a whole nother level. And it's really hard when you're at 100 to take it to another level, but she still finds a way to do it.
Bridge City.
Bridge City. The other thing I will note that I think we freaked out about when we were reacting is she does again reference sex in this song.
Ooh.
But she does it in such like an amazing way. Because like she'll reference sex, and she's been doing it since Treacherous and Some Ways and Speak Now and stuff like that, which I think was like I'm better than you expected or something.
Something
but
like that.
The lyrics, she says, "You'll be flushed when you return." Like that is such a nice, cheeky, subtle way to say we're gonna bone. like it's just so classy, and she does it so well, and it doesn't sound egregious. Like this album is just a testament to how well she can write a song.
Exactly, 100%.
So that's my rant on Illicit Affairs.
Okay. Now we get to track 11, Invisible String. So last episode we said that, Joe said, oh, this could be political because of like puppeteering and all that kind of stuff. And I said, oh, it could also be like an invisible string tying two people together. And Joe went, oh, I really like that. That's really nice. And I was right. Boom, baby.
Okay.
Best song.
Let me just say the one. You're not always right.
All right. Give me
gotta humble you a little
Let
bit.
me have it.
No, you you absolutely knocked this out of the park. Like you nailed it on its head, and this is the absolute best, like head and shoulders best song on the track.
Curious time.
I'm sorry to like blow our rankings, but yeah, obviously this is the best song.
So good. And I just love the runs in the song. Like tie me. It's just like so good. And you're like, you're just going into it. So,
I said that Time Wondrous Time, like the way that she changes that lyric every time, is my new he looks upgrading like a devil.
Time, mystical time.
Time, mystical time, time, wondrous time, and time, curious time. I think it's the first one.
And then also, I didn't put this in the notes, but the Joe Jonas reference.
Yeah.
With the, cold as the axe and blah, blah, blah.
What a line.
Now like, I buy the baby's presents. Like.
That line, like, I remember the first time I heard it, I was so blown away because it felt so out of left field. Like, it's such a weird, cold was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. If you just read that out, it feels so odd and it doesn't feel like it fits, but she sings it and makes it fit. It's insane.
Now I buy their baby's presents. It's so cute. And honestly, like the whole song, like we said, like the time, mystical time, curious time, all that kind of stuff, it just shows that, time is what moves us along. And it's just like that provides clarity and provides us all these things. And, what a thing it is, how curious, how mystical.
Another word, centennial. She just casually drops Centennial Park, which
gold where the leaves in the park. Yes, so good.
And then I think one of my favorite things, like, and I'll talk about this later in the context or when we talk more about just like the album as a whole, but gave me the blues, then Purple Pink Skies. Like, I love the way that she says that. It's a reference to Lover, which I think is amazing, but it's just the way the way that she delivers that line, like, Purple Pink Skies, like she just says it so in a way that like just gives you a smile.
The blues and the purple pink skies. Yeah. So good.
Camila Cabello loves this song as well.
So apparently Joe has to love it now. Yeah. He's just backed up by it.
No, I found out after I loved it.
Okay.
But it's nice to know that I'm backed up by the best thing that ever came out of America's Got Talent.
Yeah. Okay. All right, track number 12, Mad Woman. What a song.
Is this the first fuck?
Yes.
God, it feels weird saying that on this podcast.
I know. We've been trying so hard to keep it clean. Yeah, it's what do you sing on your drive home? Do you see my face in the neighbor's lawn? Does she smile or does she mouth fuck you forever? And it's just like, and she says it in like kind of like a nicer way. And I'm like, oh, cool.
It's interesting because like again, like it's kind of like with the sex thing where she doesn't just use it egregiously. Like
Mm-hmm.
she uses this word. This is the word that fits here, that needs to be said, that gives the emotion that she's trying to push through. But she also uses it in a different way. Like
Mm-hmm.
fuck you forever. I mean, I've heard people say that before, but it's not common.
Yeah.
And it stands out. And our reaction to it is insane.
We were
when
like,
heard it
she said fuck.
it was so crazy. Like, oh my gosh. But like just like that line, it's so powerful. Or
It
does she
is.
mouth, not even say, just mouths fuck you forever. I think the interesting thing about this song is a dichotomy of, she's talking about all of these very aggressive things. There's a lot of like violence in this song, things like that, but it's always kept at a very minimalistic sound.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as if to say, like, even when women are angry, they can't actually be angry.
Yeah.
Which I thought is just, it's brilliant. It's a great commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pointed out, this is definitely about Scooter. This is about Scoot and Scott.
Scoot and Scott. Well, there was that one line where it says, it's obvious that wanting me dead has really brought you two together. And I was like, ooh. And I mean, obviously, like, wanting her dead, that's like a little extreme, but in the sense of folklore, I feel like it fit. But that was definitely like a punch.
Oh, yeah.
To like, oh, you think I'm a mad woman? Okay, you too. Like,
it's fun to like try to pull out what is her and what isn't in this album. I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the worst song on the album?
Joe and I have argued so much today.
If it wasn't about the one, it was about Epiphany.
Track 13, Epiphany. I will fight tooth and nail for this song. It is not the best song on the album, but it is so good. It feels like I am watching a cinematic war masterpiece in a movie theater. It just feels like I'm immersed in the scene. It feels like I am on the battlefield. Everything is in slow motion. And it's so simple, and it doesn't need to be any more intense. The production is beautiful and crisp and like this ethereal sound. It sounds unreal. And her vocals are just so pure and simple. And the lyrics are so pure and simple. And it's about, influenced by her grandfather in the war. And it's just, keep your helmet.
That's what I think is my least favorite part of the song.
Good.
I don't really care for the elongated runs that she does on it.
And I'm all about runs.
Yeah. It's easy to see where we disagree on this song.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the "Sir, I think he's bleeding out." Like I really like when she gets back into the normal cadence of the whole record. I really enjoy it. And I remember when like you were talking about it, and I initially had it pretty low, and then I heard that part again, and I was like, "Oh, I'll bump back up," and then everything else just rose above it again.
With you I serve, with you I fall down. It's so good, so good. Do
you want to talk about the next best song on the album?
Betty.
Yo, this song is so good.
Track 14.
This is one that, like, when we heard the title, we were like, oh, we don't expect anything of this.
Yeah, song. Like, who's Betty? Okay, calm down. So good. Gay, 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 gay.
I literally, I don't see how you can think this song makes her gay. I can't see it. It's so clearly, she does so much to let you know the narrator of this song is a guy. She even names him.
Here's the thing. I thought the same exact thing, but everyone I've talked to has been like, wait, Like here's the craziest thing is that I'm the biggest, not biggest, but like I'm a very big Taylor Swift advocate. And when I heard this song, I'm like, okay, everyone else, people who weren't on Team Taylor Swift, they were like, wait, is she gay? Like a lot of people had that opinion.
It's just Betty, I was riding on my skateboard. Yeah, Taylor Swift rides on her skateboard all the time, let me tell you. Like it to me, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little impassioned here. But to me, if you listen to this song and you come away with, wait, is she gay? You literally only listen to like a quarter of the song. You listen to like, would you have me? Would you want me? Like you listen to that part, but you didn't listen to the part where she literally said, she said, James, let's get in, let's drive. Like there are all these things that like say that it's not her. This is a narrator, this is a different narrator.
There was something about how James could tie back to being an alias for Taylor. I forget what it was, but we'll talk about that for the song breakdown.
The one thing you said that was interesting was like how she's obviously like she could be using this as like an outlet to like to speak on like liking a woman, and I think that's fine. That's a decent way to say it. I think that's the best argument for it. But I will say, if you're a casual Taylor Swift fan, and especially if you don't think she's gay already, if you come away with the song thinking she's gay, you didn't listen to the song.
I think Inez and James are both the names of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's kids, and they're both girls. James and Inez, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but we get another fuck in this one too.
Exactly. Would you tell me to go fuck myself, or would you lead me to the garden? In the garden, would you trust me? It's just like the melody of the song is just so cute and simple. Like, if I showed up at your party, would you have?
It's very 50s. I get a very 50s vibe. Like I see that like red convertible, like that quintessential red convertible.
And we finally get our first key change at the very end. When we did talk about bridges, this was the one that I pointed out as my bridge city. When it's, I was walking home on broken cobblestones, just thinking of you when she pulled up a figment of my worst intentions. Figment of my worst intentions. She said, James, get in, let's try. It's just, and then, yeah, and then the key change for the, yeah, I showed up at your party. It's just, and then standing in your cardigan, kissing in my car again.
What a line.
Yeah.
That's like an Eminem rap right there. Cardigan, car again. Fantastic.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. We're on the tail end. We get to number 15, Peace.
I really enjoyed this song. I think a lot more than you did.
I liked it.
This is a competition.
Shut up.
But no, there are a lot of things like lines in this song that like I reeled over the sentiment for. I think I mentioned it when we were reacting, but I would die for you in secret is like a line that just absolutely destroys me. We get more cursing, we get shits in this song, which is interesting. Like there's no, the cursing in this song is on the highest end. Like personally, the two of the worst words that you could say are shit and fuck, in my opinion. Or at least that's how I was raised. On the scale, those are the two big ones. And the only other cursor we get is damn. We don't get any bitch. We don't get any hell. Well, we get a lot of hell, actually. I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, like I think it's really fascinating that that's the cursing she ends up going on. Like she's just leaning really into it.
Yeah.
My vows are going to come from this song.
Yeah, it's a good song. I mean, I like the way it sounds. It wasn't, one of my tops, but I like how she goes higher in the song and she kind of goes into like that falsetto range, like, I'm a fire, I'll keep your bitter heart warm. I like it. We pointed out when we were listening to it, you said that this could definitely be like a Paul McCartney type song.
Definitely.
You said that was the kind of vibe.
That's the vibe that I got, and I say that as someone who does not listen to the Beatles or Paul McCartney very often. So I could be wrong, but to me that's just like where I fell on it.
Yeah.
But I very much enjoyed this song. I thought it was the most loving song, even though again you can't have love on this album without pain.
Yeah, seriously. All right, then we get to our final song, track or album ender, number 16, Hoax. So
I think this is a great ending. I think this is a good ending song.
I didn't think so at first when I first listened to it. I thought, like that's it. Like it just kind of like ends off. But then when you like listen to the lyrics and you kind of understand the whole context of the album, I think it does fit. I don't think
I
what other
also
song could end it.
I think it's really interesting too that the song starts with the simplest like verse.
Mm-hmm.
Like my only one, my smoking gun, my eclipse. Like every other thing is so lyrically dense. And
Mm-hmm.
then we start with the least lyrically dense verse of the entire album. But I think the last line of the song I really enjoy. I think it's the perfect last line for this album. The
Mm-hmm.
don't want no other shade of blue but you, no other sadness in the world would do. I think that's like a really good like period at the end of this not an exclamation point, just a period
Mm-hmm. Yep.
at the end of this record. But I'll make a point here. Um, actually, you know what? I'll save it till we go into our overall reactions. I'll save that. I'll save that.
Okay. All right. So before we get into our overall reactions, I thought it would be fun to make the predictions we had from last episode of the lyrics from the merch. We tried to match them with what song we think they would be. And we got some right, we got some wrong. So I'll start off with In the Trees and In the Weeds. We thought it was going to be in the song Exile. It ended up being in the song Seven.
Mm-hmm.
Then,
Both were in 7, right?
yep, both were in
Yeah.
Seven. Then we get to the next one, Meet Me Behind the Mall. We thought was going to be illicit affairs, like sneaking around, meet me here. It ended up being the iconic line from August, Meet
Mm-hmm.
me behind the mall. Okay, this next one, Betty's Garden. That phrase is never in a song, but we assumed it to be Betty, and that was our guess. So I think we're
They
pretty
mentioned the
accurate on
garden
that.
and Betty. They
Yeah.
mentioned like, "Will you meet me in the garden?" Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then we go to Stolen Lullabies. We both had different takes. Joe thought it was going to be on Epiphany. I thought it was going to be on Invisible String. Ended up being on My Tears Ricochet. We have Hide and Seek. We predicted would be on Cardigan. It was on Cardigan, so point for us.
It was
Uh,
also told to us that it was on Cardigan.
okay, we cheated a bit. Then we get Running Like Water. We thought it was going to be on My Tears Ricochet. It was also on Cardigan, so Clandestine Meetings. We kept that. We guessed Illicit Affairs, and we were correct. Then we get to Cardigan, which is obviously on Cardigan.
Actually, isn't it also on Betty?
It is also on Betty.
Mm.
If you said both, we would have given you double points. I Knew You. I think we also knew that
Cheated on that
was
one.
from Cardigan. And then the last one, So Much for Summer. We guessed August, and it was on August.
It was. We got that one right. What did we end up with? What was our grade?
They're out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
About like over
55,
50%. Yeah,
55,
it's not too
60.
bad.
All right.
It's not too bad.
Cool.
Let's go into our overall reactions of this. I have a lot.
So, like I said in the last episode, this wasn't an album. We have never heard this before. This isn't like Safe and Sound. This isn't like, I don't think it's like anything she's put out. I mean, people are like, oh, this is kind of like Old Taylor. And in a way, it's kind of reminiscent of it, but I think this is just completely different.
I think I have in my notes that I think it's like a darker version of Speak Now. I think
Mm,
this is like Speak Now is like Disney princesses, and this is like grim fairy tales.
yes, I
Like this
completely agree.
this is it's so the overall tone of this album is so dark.
Yeah.
It's upbeat, but it's very dark. I'm doing some research on another episode where I want to really look into the references to death and like injury and stuff that she puts in here because there are a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one that stuck out to me the most is the morbidity of this album.
It's a very
So
somber.
much.
Yeah.
From bleeding to open wounds, haunting ghosts, cursing, like nothing about this album, it's so upbeat, it's so rhythmic, it does such a good job of hiding just how dark some of these lyrics are. Like there's a lyric about threatening suicide in this that just doesn't even come across like that.
Yeah. I think it's just, it's a very lyric heavy powerhouse of an album, very singer-songwriter. I think instrumentally it's perfect the way it is. I think the lyrics really shine in this album. I think it's, you're reading a storybook. It's like like you said, like I'd be very curious to see a book or, poetry or something by Taylor Swift. Like I think that this is what she's giving us right now.
I think the number one thing, two things that I noticed about this album that I'll close on, for me at least.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get over the groove. Like we said in the beginning, you sway from beginning to end.
Yep.
It is such a head bobber. It is, the cadence of the delivery of the lines is just insane, which especially stands out to me in the one, Exile, 7, August, and Invisible String. Like you feel your head not bob to like the way that she sings.
Yep.
Which it really stands out. But the other thing that I noticed, aside from the morbid lyrics, it feels like Taylor in this album, it's such a different view than Lover, because Lover to me was such like a lofty opinion of love, but still realistic. Like Speak Now was this grandiose love. Lover was this high opinion of love, but grounded in real life. This song is not the same. This album is about love, but it's about the pain that love also comes with. Like there is nothing in this album that is love without pain.
Yeah.
She can't separate the two. No matter what happens in even the happiest relationships, they know pain will always be a part of it. And that really gets me. And another one is just like her being, there's so many lines with her being careful around her partner, or like tiptoeing where I'm on a tightrope. Like so many lines that just like show that like she's showing the tumultuous aspect of relationships, or at least how the character she's envisioning navigate them.
Yeah.
So that's my last piece. Devin, what else do you have for this album?
I think that, I think it's good. I can't stop raving about it. I keep telling people like, it's such a great like selling point for Taylor Swift. Like if you are a big Taylor Swift fan, you'll love this album. If you are not a big Taylor Swift fan, but you like indie alternative music, you'll love this album. Like a lot of people that I work with, I was like, do you like Taylor Swift? They're like, not really. I'm like, listen to this album. Like listen to a couple songs, give it a try, and you'll like it. And they did.
She's gonna get a lot of new listeners from this. She's gonna get a whole new audience.
I think she's gonna win some awards for this, to be honest.
It is such an artistic album. Like it's so crazy, and it's just so obvious how there aren't pandering songs on here. Like someone that I don't really talk to very often reached out to me and was like, this song is absolute trash. There are absolutely no bangers on it. And I'm like, an album, just because it doesn't have a banger on it doesn't mean it's bad. Like
this album will not be on pop radio.
No, not at all.
And it doesn't have to be.
No, like this is like what Mumford and Sons didn't do. Like Mumford and Sons turned into very pop folk. This is the exact opposite. This is just folk.
Yeah.
Like it's so different, and it makes me excited. I think I said to my other friend, I was like, she could say now, like, yeah, for my next album, I'm doing reggae. And I would be like, all right, I guess I'm into reggae now. Like she'll kill it. Like I trust her with any genre at this point.
Maybe not reggae, but
screamo.
If she was like pop punk screamo, I'd be like, heck yes.
I'm excited for the rock album. I need like the.
Oh, that would be amazing. I think that's the next move from here. I think that'd be a cool transition.
I'd be interested to see if she stays here. Like, what if her next album was just more of this? But like, I can't see that being it. I feel like this is her getting this part of her out.
Yeah.
But I hope that it isn't the end of conceptual albums.
I don't think it will be. Honestly, I feel like with the end of Lover, it kind of ended this, trilogy or however long story of her and her love and all this stuff. And I think that until we have some other kind of drastic change in her life, I think she's mature. I think she's like, okay, I've said my piece about my life. Let's start exploring other stories.
I also love that the existence of this album going forward really like screws with people trying to figure out what her songs are about her, because like we said, like people thinking Betty was about her being gay, people thinking The One was about her and Joe breaking up.
Yeah.
She introduced this idea of fictional characters that have nothing to do with her into these songs, so that no matter what, she has plausible deniability to say, no, that's has nothing to do with me, it's just my imagination coming up with a song.
Yep.
And even if it has something to do with her relationship or something like that, it will never know for sure. We'll never be able to pinpoint it. And I think that was very much done on purpose. And I think it's brilliant that she did it. And I'm impressed that she did it in such a balls to the wall amazing way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that I don't really have much else to say. I think it's a great album. I can't wait to listen some more. I can't wait for my opinions to change.
I think we start ranking them now, though.
Heck yeah, we do. Okay. So bottom track, very different.
Very different.
Joe's bottom track was Epiphany, and my bottom track was Hoax.
I could see that, though. Hoax, I think.
Again, not bad.
It's not bad. Again, this is still a 9 out of 10. Epiphany is definitely my least favorite song on the album, but I'll still listen to it and be happy with it.
Yeah. Then we get to 15. That was for Joe, This Is Me Trying, and mine was The One. Sorry, The One fans.
I can't. So you mean sorry, everyone?
And
sorry, all of our listeners and everyone on the planet.
All right. Then we get to number 14. Joe's pick was 7. Mine was This Is Me Trying. So not too far behind.
We're pretty close on that. Yeah.
Yeah, only one away. We get to 13. That was for Joe, My Tears Ricochet, and mine was Peace.
We did. That was one.
That is a big difference, one. Yeah.
Well, the one and that one so far are our biggest discrepancies.
Then we get to number 12 is Hoax, and then for Joe, and mine was 7. So
that's
at that
close.
point, ours are both below that point. So we both have Hoax at this point. We both have 7 at that point. We both have This Is Me Trying. And then next is 11. Joe's was The Last Great American Dynasty. Mine was My Tears Ricochet. So at this point, My Tears Ricochet is both bottom for us.
Wait, where was it before you said it rose? Because it rose to 11 from where?
My Tears Ricochet might have been the bottom 3.
Okay. I can see that.
Number 10, kills me to say this, Joe's was Mirror Ball. And mine was Exile, which is also low.
Yeah, Exile seems pretty low for you there.
In comparison, I just think...
I think it's fair.
Yeah. It's hard.
I mean, honestly, I'm done. Well, I'm not done giving you crap for your musical taste, because we wouldn't even have a show.
I know.
But I mean, this album, I can't, like, the margin of difference between these songs is so minuscule.
Like I said, the sticky notes for me were all in this middle range. So these are going to be the ones that are going to change. I think my bottom and my top are pretty much like, this is probably going to be it. I don't know. Who knows? So now we have number 9. Joe's was Cardigan. Mine was The Last Great American Dynasty.
Yeah, I think those are both fine.
Coming in at number 8, we both put Mad Woman.
Woo! We matched.
So now we are at the upper half of our rankings now, starting with number 8. Okay. And now number 7, Joe's was Peace. Mine was Cardigan. So I thought Cardigan was a little bit better. He thought Peace was a little bit better in our total rankings. Number 6, his was Exile. Mine was Illicit Affairs, which is pretty close.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
This one was surprising for me, but Joe's for number 5 is August, and mine was Epiphany.
I'll say this top 5. I'm sorry. I'll say the next 4 are so close together that honestly, it could be in any order, and it would be almost the same for me.
I think Epiphany and The One are our biggest disparities, because they're like Epiphany is like
Epiphany and a Mirror Ball. Mirror Ball is another one.
Yeah, but Epiphany is like your bottom, and Epiphany's in my top 5.
True.
And The One is my second to
your
bottom,
and
it's your top 5. 3. Yeah. So then we get to number 4. Yours was Illicit Affairs. Mine was Mirror Ball. And now we're in the top 3.
I actually really like that, because I think like Illicit Affairs, I think, is my song, and I think Mirror Ball is 100% your song.
Yeah.
So I like that we both also put them in the same spot.
Now we get to our top 3. His, Joe's was The One. Mine was Betty.
I can't fault you for Betty.
Joe's number 2 was Betty.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was August. And that means that our number 1 song, both of us agree, Invisible String.
It's so head and shoulders clearly the best song.
Such a good song. So
It's
yeah, that is our rankings.
I would love to know what you.
Wrong.
Yeah, let us know if you're wrong. Tell Devin that The One deserves to be higher, and that she's a freak for not liking it.
Tell me that.
Tell me that Epiphany should be higher. Make me appreciate that song more.
I think that's such a hot take. I don't think anyone's like, "Yo, Epiphany's really good."
Yeah, Epiphany, I feel like might be your. It's nice to have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it really
it's definitely one of the odder ones that just like it sticks out on this album to me. It's very different than the rest of it in some ways. Some ways it's the same, but there's definitely some differences.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening.
Please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. If you're listening on YouTube, we're also on Spotify, Apple, literally anywhere you ever think about getting a podcast. Tell a friend about us, rate us 5 stars, leave a comment, leave a review on Apple. It really helps us out.
Yeah, and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, where you could watch the video right now. We're at We Need to Calm Down Podcast or WNTCD Podcast. Let us know what you think. Send us a DM, leave a comment, tell a friend.
If you have a suggestion for an episode, let us know. If you have any idea for content, right now we are in full-fledged folklore mode.
Oh, yeah.
And we are just trying to crank out and just delve into these lyrics as much as possible and just probably pump out a bunch of song breakdowns coming forward. But if there's something you noticed on this album that you think warrants an episode or something that you want to hear us talk about, let us know.
1000%. And on the note of episodes, because we put out these 2 episodes back to back with our initial reactions, we will not be doing an episode this coming Tuesday, but we'll be right back at it again the following typical Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Come back. We'll be here.